Today we'll be taking a look at some stories involving Sasha Banks, Toni Storm, Liv Morgan, and much more. Let's start things off with Sasha Banks' WWE return. It's been a tough few weeks for Sasha and her fans. Sasha takes some time away from WWE after April's WrestleMania event. Sasha Banks returns 4 months later in early August to pick up where she left off at and come after Bianca Belair and the SmackDown Women's title. It gets off to a hot start, and a WrestleMania rematch between Sasha and Bianca gets confirmed for SummerSlam. Everyone's excited. These two women just put on an all-time classic at WrestleMania, and we get to see them go at it again at SummerSlam. Who wouldn't be excited to see that? That brought us to August 13th, the night of the contract signing between Sasha and Bianca. It was a huge segment that had the honor to main event SmackDown that week and close out the show. However, that night ended up being Sasha's final appearance. Sasha and Bianca would end up being pulled from the live events that weekend, and everyone was thinking, well, maybe it was travel delays, or they're just resting the both of them for SummerSlam. Then, word started getting around that Sasha vs. Bianca was no longer happening. WWE knew it wasn't happening 8 days in advance, but decided to continue to advertise the match anyway. Bianca returned to SmackDown the night before SummerSlam and took on Zelina and Carmella, but Sasha was nowhere to be found on the final SmackDown before SummerSlam, a massive red flag that she most likely wasn't going to be at SummerSlam. So that ended up being true. Becky Lynch was the backup plan, turned heel, and took the title away from Bianca. Fast forward 40 plus days later, and Sasha Banks returns to interfere during Bianca vs. Becky at Extreme Rules. Like the commentators mentioned, and like we talked about when all this started happening in August, Sasha Banks has every right to return directly into the title picture, because she did sign that contract for SummerSlam, made the match official, but never got the match. So, she had the perfect case to do what she did. Here's Becky and Bianca fighting over the title, and no one has made any mention of Sasha Banks. They're just moving right on without her. So that's why Sasha had to jump in there with a remember me sort of moment. So Sasha is back and obviously wants the SmackDown Women's title and the opportunity that was robbed from her due to not being cleared to compete at SummerSlam. As far as Sasha's character goes, it appears that she most definitely is still heel. Notice how she didn't go after Becky Lynch at first. She went after Bianca Belair, the babyface, first. So, just a bit of an indicator there that Sasha is still heel. It would have been a different story if she attacked Becky first. Then, that could have obviously been a possible slight face turn. Even though Becky Lynch is a heel as well, Becky took her spot and moment at SummerSlam. Sasha is just frustrated with Becky, as she is with Bianca, so she's not playing favorites here at all. Sasha's character has equal issues with both Bianca and Becky. As far as the direction goes for this story, it looks like WWE can take this story in a handful of different ways. First option being a triple threat match. Throwing Sasha Banks into the mix and making this a triple threat for the title does make things interesting. Or, even if they want to stick to the traditional one-on-one match for the SmackDown Women's title, they can even have Sasha vs. Bianca with the winner becoming the #1 contender for Becky's title. Sure, the title isn't on the line anymore, but it's still a way of getting that WrestleMania rematch between Sasha and Bianca. Both women still have a claim to the title. Sasha signed that contract in August, and now Bianca has been screwed out of her opportunity as well, thanks to Sasha. So it does look like this will be a three-way feud here. You can either put them all together, or have Bianca and Sasha battle it out to determine the one and only top contender for the title. But whatever happens here, whatever route they decide to take it in, it'll still be a very exciting matchup. The SmackDown Women's division is absolutely loaded right now in the title picture, so it'll be interesting to see what they do there with all that talent. Speaking of SmackDown Women's division, that brings us to the rest of the division outside of the title picture. Lots of fans have their eyes on Toni Storm, whose main roster usage has been a massive question mark up to this point. WWE promotes Toni Storm and calls her up from NXT to be on SmackDown. They play all these videos and promos to hype up her big debut. We saw her debut on the July 23rd edition of SmackDown by defeating Zelina Vega. But then, it was as if her debut never happened. She went missing for weeks, popped up in a 15-second backstage segment with Dolph Ziggler, went missing again, tagged with Liv Morgan, and then went back to backstage segments. So it's quite obvious to everyone that they called up Toni Storm to SmackDown without any sorts of plans at all. Usually, that's how most call-ups are. NXT superstars get called up without any proper plans or story being in place for them on the main roster all the time. But at least for the first few weeks on the main roster, they're part of the show. They're picking up some wins. But that wasn't the case for Toni. She debuted, won her first match, and fell off the face of the earth. So her usage has been extremely non-existent and disappointing. It feels like they're just throwing her these random backstage segments so that it technically accounts for her appearing on SmackDown. But that's one big issue for the fans right now. A lot of people got their eyes on Toni Storm's usage, waiting for WWE to finally start using her on SmackDown. Speaking of superstars that may finally start getting used more, that brings us to Liv Morgan. Liv had a lot of momentum before Money in the Bank, but WWE basically eliminated her momentum themselves after she went missing for several weeks after Money in the Bank. Liv would end up returning and just picked up a big win over Carmella at Extreme Rules. A pin over Carmella is a big deal. Carmella is a former Money in the Bank winner and former women's champion, so it was a big win for Liv. It's a win that many fans and reporters see as the beginning of what could be a big push for Liv Morgan. She's got this big win over Carmella. Now, she has to keep things rolling and eventually put her name into the SmackDown Women's Championship title picture. That's obviously the end game for Liv Morgan. She wants that title, and it feels like she's about to finally break through. Another great thing that Liv has that's hard for a lot of superstars to get is genuine love from the fans. The WWE fans are rooting for Liv Morgan and are actively behind her. So that's going to go a long way for Liv as well. Having massive support from the fans does play a role and is something that WWE pays close attention to. So Liv Morgan could be one of the superstars to keep an eye on for sure. The SmackDown women's division is a bit heavy at the top, with 3 juggernauts like Sasha, Becky, and Bianca being there, but the Raw women's division is a bit depleted. So, if Liv finds her way back on Raw thanks to a WWE draft, that might actually benefit her greatly since SmackDown is loaded in the title picture right now. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.